Welcome back to Kingdom Cast. This your host, Super Champ Chuck. We back at it with another episode. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share all your social media platforms. It's just me and Boogie so far. D-Mac's gonna come in later on as the sixth man. He's running a little behind and stuff. But man, we got a lot to talk about tonight, man. A lot has happened within the Chiefs Kingdom over this past week or so. So, Boog, man, what's going on, bro?
It's crazy, man. Today got a little wild, man. I'm a
Yeah,
little hurt. So, yes, it's one of them days.
it's bittersweet, but this ain't the first time this happened throughout our history. So, what's going on, Pacey? Pacey was the first one in here. As soon as the link popped up, he was the first one in here. So shout out to Pacey.
What's up, man?
Uh, but yeah, man. But before we get into all that, all the breaking news that happened today, let's rewind back a little bit and let's talk about the first lady of football, Norma Hunt. She died at the age of 85, and we don't know the exact cause of her death or anything, but throughout the history, everybody knows that she is the wife of the late great Lamar Hunt. Lamar Hunt was the founder of the Chiefs, owner of the Chiefs, and he was the reason why the AFL NFL merger, happened. Because at first, the NFL and the AFL they were separate leagues, but Lamar Hunt was part of the reason why the two sides came along together and they merged into one. So they became the National Football League, and he's got a trophy named after him. But Norma Hunt, she should have made an impact on the sport in so many ways, and she'll be missed. But I will say this: at least I'm glad that she did get to see a couple Super Bowl victories before she passed away gracefully. So there is that. So I mean, so what are your thoughts on the passing of Norma Hunt?
Yeah, R.I.P. Norma Hunt. She definitely was special for the Chiefs. And she was the only woman ever to go to every Super Bowl.
Hmm.
So that's pretty dope, man. But yeah, that's messed up. She passed. Like you said, I'm happy she got to see us finally win a championship after so long. I know that was probably crazy for her.
Yeah, but I mean, and not to like use her death as like a motivation factor or anything, but I mean, it kind of is a motivation factor, just to win one for her. I mean, just win another one for her. So that's that's more motivation. But like I said, I know Clark. I know Clark. He of course he had to take the news and go through the grieving period and stuff, and he may still be going through that grieving period, and whatnot. But Andy Reid, his comment it says it best. Like the thing that gets you through these things is to try to focus on the good times. And I'm sure the as an organization there was plenty of good times with her being there. So you know she will be missed, and just prayers up to the entire Hunt family. So,
So
but with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the White House visit, man. So this group of champions here, they the first ones to ever visit the White House and give a custom made trophy to the president of the United States. That's never been done. We got robbed of that moment a couple years back, due to COVID-19 and all that. So, but we got the opportunity this time, and and a few things happened along the way, like Frank Clark, the next subject we're gonna get into here in a sec. He took a picture of Chris Jones, taking a nap or sleeping or whatever. He had the caption of "I have a dream," saying he looked like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. sleeping, or he was actually dreaming while he was sleeping. So that was pretty funny right there. And then Juju, he reunited with some of the teammates. He did a little victory dance or touchdown dance one last time with the group. And then of course, like Andy Reid getting choked up during his speech, just being there and everything. And then like at the end, Travis Kelsey, he liked to be a little goofy with it and stuff. He he spoke a little bit on the mic. He was like, "I've been waiting for this moment." That Patrick had to play security guard. Like, sorry, sorry, so. Yeah, those are just a few of the highlights that happened at the White House. But all those guys, they look casket sharp, man. But I mean, what did you get out of it? Just watching like the whole thing, like the behind the scenes stuff, and when it aired live.
I've had the same thoughts as as you, Chris Jones, that was funny as hell right there. It was good seeing Frank Clark back. Like you said before we got this news, man, I was happy we seen him back. I thought that meant maybe we still had a chance. But then, Juju, like you said, I was laughing at that. That was cool. I seen Pacheco was interviewing the D line, Karlaftis and
Hmm.
all that. That was pretty cool. So yeah, I thought overall it was pretty cool. It was good. We finally got to do that. Like you said, we missed it first time, so it was pretty cool. Hopefully we do it again this year.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely want to give back. Definitely want to complete the mission. And those guys, they locked in. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure they've been very locked in on the mission and everything. We got a bigger target on our back. You know, everybody want to beat the best. Just that's just how the news cycle's been going in the off season. And we're gonna be used as the main target point as far as like big name free agents or like who's available for trade and stuff, just to either drive up the price or somebody just to hop on and sign that person. But yeah, man, it was a great moment to see. We got that out the way and everything. But I mean, I saw Airbnb was there too. I mean, I'm glad you got to have that moment as well. Because I mean, I just really want to. I'm just interested to see how that locker room is and how that's gonna be without his presence. Because we mentioned this before many times. He held everybody accountable. To make sure they was on point. So, but overall, man, it was cool to see. I mean, it was straight and short to the point. Some people was confused at the end. It was like they was like, "That's it," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's it." And then Andy Reid, he talked about the food there. Andy Reid loved him some food, man. He was talking about he's talking to the chefs like, man, you guys are awesome. I guess he had like a French toast ham and cheese sandwich and then like some other stuff. So
Yeah, that's real fat boy stuff too, Andy. That's French toast. Yeah, that sounds crazy.
yeah, and like I don't really eat ham for real. I mean, I haven't really ate like that in like a long time, but it's interesting. I mean, it might be decent, but I don't know if I ever tried it. So, but yeah, man. I mean, as you seen in the pictures, like when they took pictures and stuff, you saw that Frank Clark wasn't that far from Brett Veach in the photo, right? So some people was thinking, well, they may be able to work something out. Frank Clark may actually come back, but that segues over to the next subject, man. Frank Clark. He decided to go ahead and sign with the AFC West rival. He's a Denver Bronco now. Uh, so, so yeah. And it's not the first time that this has happened in throughout our Chiefs history. We had Neil Smith come over from the Chiefs to the Broncos. We know how that happened. They didn't want to pay him. And then another instance was Jamal Charles. He was a little bit past his prime at the time. He decided to go to the Broncos. So those are the few examples there. And then like as far
Derek
as like
Johnson.
AFC, yeah, Derek Johnson, as far as AFC West guys, Derek Johnson, he was a Raider in his final year in the NFL. And then Brandon Flowers, can't forget about him. He eventually went to the
Yeah.
Chargers for a short period. So, I mean, it is what it is, man. Frank Clark, as you can see here, like he signed to a 1 year deal. This is a 1 year prove it deal worth 7.5 million. So he got his bread. Like he went to the team that was going to pay him the most money, and unfortunately, it's within the division. So I know one thing. I'm not gonna be like some Chiefs fans that be like, man, man, you a op now for you and all this stuff. Cause look, Frank Clark was a big part of why we won two Super Bowls, man. So I can't sit on the dude. You know what I mean? Like, okay, so like whenever Denver does come here to Arrowhead this upcoming season, and I see him out on the field, I'm gonna give him a salute, man. I'm thanking for everything. So what was your thoughts when you saw that news, man?
Oh, I was hurt. I didn't even want to believe it. I seen somebody post it. I'm like, let me make sure somebody verify I said it. But yeah, man, it's different. Yeah, it's like that, Jamal, man. It's different because he actually won us a championship and how he was that emotional leader in those championship runs both times. Like that kind of changed it up for me. I mean, of course, Jamal was better, and a lot of them players was better Chiefs, but him going there, him doing that after he done won the Super Bowl after all the tough times we had with him, it kind of sucks, man. I ain't gonna lie. And I thought the price was decent enough. If we really wanted him, we could have kept him at that price. Like I think we could have signed him for that same contract. Chiefs just didn't want him, just like with Orlando Brown. They really just didn't want him. But it sucked, man. And it's gonna suck with Denver because I think now this does change Denver's offseason. If they get Dalvin Cook, I said something about that earlier, but they get Dalvin Cook after the offseason. They had this a pretty good offseason for Russell Wilson and Sean Payton. Maybe they can build on something and be a fight for that last wild card spot. Who knows? So yeah, I think especially with their young defense they got, Broncos got a nice defense, got a nice pass rushers already. I mean, I think he's gonna do good there. I hate he had to go there, but it is what it is, man. It sucked though, man.
Yeah, business is business, unfortunately. I
Yeah.
mean, that's the tough part, you know what I mean? Like when you don't sign these guys and bring them back, they may end up with like a division rival or a team that's been on your neck and they decide to go there. I mean, you just mentioned Orlando Brown Jr. He's a Cincinnati Bengal now. I mean, that's been one of the teams that's been competing to try to knock us off in the AFC. So, but for Frank Clark, man, I mean, some people was talking about, man, we don't have to worry about Frank Clark in the playoffs. At least we don't have to worry about that. But I'm like, I ain't gonna go that far. You know what I mean? Because you just never know. You just never know. They may get it together this time. I mean, it's a better coach, more experience. He a Super Bowl champ, Sean Payton. He may get Russell Wilson back right. Who knows? I mean, Denver, they just a wild card right now. They getting talent. They signing talent. We just gotta see if it's gonna work.
Yeah, I definitely don't think they're gonna win the division, but I do think
Right.
a wild card fighting for that last wild card definitely possible. Like I don't think Russell Wilson is gonna be as bad as last year. He might not be back to old Russ, but I mean I don't think he's done like that. I think he got a little something left. I'm with you too on that night. Yeah, he's
Yeah, he didn't even show up to he didn't show up to the White House appearance, but he wasn't the only one that didn't show up. But
Clyde. Did Clyde show up?
um, people say he didn't. So I had mentioned that like in the chat room. I was like, you gotta look out for Clyde because I mean, somebody was saying like everybody pretty much showed up, and I was like, we gotta look out for Clyde though because he went at the parade. So, but I
I
ain't really
seen
tripping off
somebody
of that.
say he's selling that ring as soon as he get traded.
Right. So you mentioned Dalvin Cook. Let's go into that real quick. Okay, so you saw the report today that it's either Denver or Miami, according to Adam Schefter. And Schefter, he's pretty legit with his sources, for the most part. So, like, I mean, how do you see it play out? I mean, what's the percentage chance that Denver does land Dalvin Cook?
uh, I think he's probably gonna go to Miami. I think Denver might be able to spend that money if they really wanted him bad enough. But yeah, Miami gonna be tough to turn down. Just looking at him, that's if he's looking into it, where would he be the best fit? I think it's Miami. I think they got a more explosive offense. I mean, playing with Sean Payton, they already got somebody too. Javante coming off that injury. I don't know. I think Miami probably be the better spot for him. Probably where he would want to go more pay wise and football fit wise. So I'll probably get like 20% for Denver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. So yeah, I mean, Dalvin is from that area. You know, I mean, he played ball at Florida State. So I mean, there is that. I mean, I know somebody mentioned had like Denver. I mean, not Denver, but Miami. They kind of run a similar scheme to how Minnesota is right now. And I mentioned like Minnesota while he was there. When Kevin O'Connell got there, he didn't fit what he really wanted to do out there in Minnesota for that 1 year. Like Dalvin Cook was still a productive player, but at the same time, he still got them injury issues. So I mean, there is that. But with Miami. they do got a bunch of running backs right now. I mean, you got Mostert, Wilson, and they just drafted a rookie in Devin A-Chain. But there's injury concerns with those guys. So, but I mean, if Miami does add Dalvin Cook, I mean, it will help the running back room some. You know, so we'll see what happens with that. And look who just pulled up. Look who just arrived. What's up with it, D-Mac?
Little late, man. Good to be here.
So you're glad you're here, man. So we had just touched on, Frank Clark signing with the Denver Broncos. I mean, what was your thoughts when he made a decision on that today?
Yeah, I was surprised to see it a little bit. I understood though. Yeah, the guy, getting a $5 million guarantee contract, up to 7 million. That was just money that we weren't going to have available for him, especially given our cap situation, the fact that we're already paying him 7 mil, in dead cap money this year. So I understand why he decided to take that money. He obviously wants to be on a football field, and so this is going to give him opportunity to. So good for him to be able to get that money. Obviously, wish it wasn't with Denver, but we'll get to see him twice a year.
Yeah, there is that.
Emotional damage.
And you guys remember, like, the schedule has us playing Denver week 6 and then week 8, and that's a tough stretch. Like, clearly, it looks like the NFL wants this winning streak to end. So, I mean, there's a chance that it could happen because I mean that is a very tough stretch, and Denver they had a pretty solid offseason so far. We'll just see. We gotta see if the chemistry gonna be there. That's what we waiting
Hmm.
on.
And Denver played us close last year, as bad as they was both games.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
yep,
think
they did.
yeah, that game in Denver, just randomly started turning the ball over. I think in the end of the second quarter, start the
Hmm.
third quarter, and got him back into the game. I think it was like was it 24 point lead that we ended up, making that game a lot closer than it needed to be. And then but look, there are times in which Denver does play us close, and that's just the way divisional games go, whether how good we are or not. But I'm not the highest on Denver and Sean Payton this year, so we'll see how that ends up working out.
So you think it's gonna take them more than a year to finally get it right, or are they ever gonna
Yeah.
get it right?
Well, I don't know if they're ever going to get right with Russell Wilson making the money that he is currently making. Um, they have serious holes on the interior of that offensive line, still, in my opinion. They paid a lot of money to a below average right tackle and Mike McGlinchey, a guy that a lot of Niners fans were happy to get rid of. Um, they signed Samaje Perine, which is cool. They got a third down running back. They lost a guy in Draymond Jones, who I thought was a very underrated defensive lineman for them. And Everett was a very good defensive coordinator for him. And so I don't think that the Sean Payton fix of their offense is going to offset the defensive, step back that they are going to take, in my opinion, from being a top 10 defense last year. So I don't really see a winning season necessarily in Denver, but we'll see if they can prove me wrong.
Okay, so you still think it's Chiefs and Chargers still like the top two teams in the AFC West?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the Chargers have a chance at a wild card spot. Obviously, I have us winning the division, but I don't foresee there's going to be a lot of competition from Denver or the Raiders this year. But that's just me.
I ain't nothing wrong with it. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I think Denver on paper they get a little better, but as far as playoffs, yeah, I'm just gonna have to wait and see on that one. But what Frank Clark can bring is if they do somehow make the playoffs in his 1 year here this year, he's proven that he has performed in the playoffs. Like he's one of the best playoff performers we've seen in quite
Hmm.
some time from a defensive end. So, but we'll just see if Denver gets together or not. But what I did see today as well is I saw the NFL page on Twitter was pumping up Kadarius Tony today, and it was talking about what will he put up big numbers in his second go around or his first full go around in Kansas City. So I mean, what are your guys' thoughts on Kadarius Tony if he is actually the number one wide receiver on the depth chart?
I mean, I'm a Sky Moore fan. I guess I'm in the Sky Moore camp firmly. I think that he has a better chance necessarily at being the guy that steps up to lead that wide receiver room. He Kadarius Toney is a guy that I certainly see all of the talent in the world. It's impossible not to. The explosiveness, the change of direction, the acceleration. He goes up against the ball. He can catch the ball very well. He understands what he's doing as a wide receiver. It's just the question mark of the health. And I think that the Chiefs would rather play it a little bit safer rather than expose him to a lot of snaps trying to be and make him into a number one wide receiver, when instead you can make sure that you use him for high impactful snaps, and make sure he stays on the field. But that all comes down to how much confidence they have in the health, and if they have a lot of confidence in the health, then maybe he gets those type of snaps.
Yeah, I'm with it. Like you said, we know what it is with Tony. It's not the talent is not the question. If you can guarantee me 13 games starting, if you can guarantee me 13 games, I can get you 800 yards. I think he can do that, but we got to guarantee that he can play that amount of games. That's a lot of games for him. Has he ever played 13 games?
No, I don't think so. I mean, he
I
the
don't
most
think he
the
is.
most games he has played is 10, and that was his rookie year back in 2021. But the most games he started is like 4.
10, yeah, 10 not gonna be enough. If he
So
only plays 10 games, he won't be the number one receiver on the Chiefs.
Yeah, it's pretty tough to do that. I mean, you're talking about. I think I was going to find it real quick. Yeah, the career high in snap counts is 46. That's not gonna. You're not coming to come
That's
close to being number one wide receiver doing 46% snaps.
no.
so yeah, this is like a prove it type of deal with him. You know, I mean, this will be his first full off season in Kansas City. First mini camp, all that stuff. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, if 'cause I don't think he has he arrived in mini camp yet
I I think he
or
was there today.
OTAs. OTAs, my bad.
Yeah, he was there. He was there today.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, we just got to see about that. But I think if he is healthy, he may get close to 1,000 yards if he is healthy, because like you guys mentioned, the talent is there, and we seen him with the ball. Like the dude does amazing things with the football in his hands. So so there's that. Um, let's talk about the Madden cover reveal. I mean, I know you still play Madden, Bug. I don't know about D-Mac. I mean, I don't know where he's at, but he probably had to go do something real quick. But Josh Allen got named as the cover guy for Madden 24. With me, man, like here's the thing for Josh Allen. Look, you see the talent is there. He's got the arm. He can run. Some people call him the white Cam Newton, all this other stuff. I don't think he's nowhere near Cam's level, but anyway, my thing,
Cream
my
Newton.
thing, yeah, Kareem Newton. Yeah, my thing is this though, man. Josh Allen, what people have been ignoring is like the amount of turnovers. Like when you look at his career numbers, like the dude's fumbling, he's pretty high at fumbles. Yeah, like he's pretty high at fumbles, and his interceptions kind of up there too. So, and I've been saying for a while now that Josh Allen, he plays like an arcade quarterback in a sense. But And I think this cover is fitting for him. I think him getting the cover for Madden 24 fits right into that threshold. I mean, so what was your thoughts on Josh Allen being the cover guy on Madden 24?
Oh, I liked it, man. I think
Phil
it's
Rivers
smart.
Jr.
He's a marketable quarterback. He in
Hmm.
the New York market. He young. Everything match up. Everything match up. I think it was cool. Only thing I was jealous that they put Buffalo's fans on there over. We didn't get our Arrowhead the fans on there all these times. Mahomes been on there. That was trash. Chiefs fans better than Buffalo fans. But I mean, I thought it was cool. Like you said, this when you play Madden, it's a lot of turnovers in the game, passing. So I think he fit.
Yep.
I, I
Yeah, you're
I'll
right.
be suckered into buying it. I'm pretty sure they go get this 60 out of me, even though I
Yeah,
don't
they
want to
are.
play it.
They are.
They go get
They
it.
definitely are. But my thing is this, man. Like I feel like Joe Burrow should have been. more of a candidate than Josh Allen, in my opinion. But
I
I
can see that.
guess I guess Joe Burrow's not your prototypical, company guy they looking for. I guess I don't know, because I do find it funny how the Bengals they have this good team now. They got this explosive offense and all that talent all around, and they don't really get promoted. So the Bengals ain't never really been attracted to the National Football League anyway. But
But
they
that's a
got these.
small market. That's what I'm saying. But Josh Allen is a little more exciting of a quarterback. Just watching. While I'm not saying he's better,
Well, yeah,
but
right,
he's
right, right.
running, he's dumping, he's giving you those ESPN top 10 plays, and he's in New York. I get it. But
Hmm.
I do get what you're saying. It seems like it would seem like Joe Cool would be easy to be marketed on Madden. Like,
Yeah, and like Joe Burrow. I mean, he's done some exciting things too. Like we don't see him escape out of the pocket. We don't see him juke folks in the open field before. Like people be sleeping on his
yeah,
athleticism
but
in a
not like
sense.
Josh Allen.
Well,
Not
nah,
like
he ain't.
Josh Allen, just because Josh Allen run more too.
Yeah,
Like it's way more opportunity for Josh Allen to do it.
yeah, yeah. Great point there. So, so yeah, man. But congratulations, Josh Allen, on getting that. But I know Buffalo fans, they was freaking out. You know, I mean, I seen quite a bit of them. They was freaking out when Josh Allen got the cover. It was like, oh shoot, we're gonna be cursed. But I think Patrick Mahomes has already proven that that coverage jinx, it might not be a thing anymore. But who knows? Curse could come back. We'll see. Because I know people are still pretty high on the Bills this year in the AFC in general. So, but yeah, let's get
Yeah,
on.
Devin
But
Cook
yeah,
go to Miami. That's gonna get interesting.
oh yeah, that AFC East gonna be something, dog. Without a doubt, it's definitely gonna be something. So let's go on to the next subject here. We got OTAs. OTAs happened today, the ninth day. We saw some things with that. We saw Patrick Mahomes being a little bit off on his deep passes and everything. But then we also got more news about Daenerys Prince and how his progress has been going. So it's looking like so far it's looking like he may be a contender to be the kick returner, at least on this team. But of course, we still got training camp and all that other stuff. Unfortunately, like my internet is tripping right now, so I mean, I can't really look up all the other stuff. But as far as the ninth day of OTAs, man, guys just getting back in the form and everything. So, but what's something you looking forward to, man? Like when training camp arrives, like what's the main thing you looking forward to?
Of course, one of my main things, and they said something about it today too, is Sky Moore year two, his chemistry with Mahomes. I want to see how that is, of course, on offense. That's my biggest thing on offense. On defense, I want to see how that pass rush is right now. I mean, they don't have pads on right now, but I want to see how that is because I think we still need a veteran back there added to that group. So I'm looking at them two things.
Yeah, D-Mac, I don't know if you heard the question, when we came back in here, but I was asking Bug, like, we was going through, like, some of the highlights of day nine OTAs and stuff. And
Mhm.
I asked him, like, what's the one thing you looking forward to when training camp gets here?
Yeah, I did see the thread on day nine, and sorry, my connection's been going in and out. But yeah, as far as when training camp gets here, uh, I think the most important thing just for the Chiefs' success of question mark next year, because I do believe the way the defense is set up, these young guys are going to be stepping into their new roles. I feel confident in the way that they're going to have more comfortability there in the scheme, and obviously some of the veterans that they brought in to kind of supplement them. I'm going to be a little bit interested to see how the tackle situation kind of works out. If Donovan Smith is a guy that's healthy, ready to take over the left tackle spot. If not, what they end up doing with Jawan Taylor as a result, and how they end up working in Wanye or Lucas Niang as off of that, and what they want that competition to look like. So that tackle position is the one that I'm most going to be concerned with, because it's always going to determine how Patrick Mahomes is protected, and that's most important thing on the team. So I believe that the wide receiver situation is going to work itself out. I think this team is deep at that position as far as different talents for different situations. And I think Reed and company will be able to parse out who needs to be put in where. And that competition will work itself out. And I believe in the defense coming into its own in its second year in the scheme.
Yeah, and I just hate that I had to argue with some folks. Like I think it was last week, and we was arguing over trenches and stuff, and they was talking about, man, you guys ain't really got no trenches. And I was like, huh? And it was like, who gonna be your tackles? I'm like, and then when I said Donovan Smith, maybe the left tackle, it was like, Donovan Smith, he was terrible last year, right? And but then I saw some Bucks fans, they was arguing with me too about how terrible he was last year. I'm like, he was playing hurt. Like when he went up against the Cowboys in week 1, he looked just fine up until he hyperextended his elbow. He had to compensate for his hyperextended elbow, and it affected his technique and everything. So, and like the year before, people forget he was rated as like a top 10 left tackle, I believe, the year before. So,
Mm-hmm.
like if he's healthy and he's back right, the signing might not be that bad.
Yeah, I mean, look,
So,
they've gone through these things, and obviously we talked about, like you said, Smith was hurt last year, and that affected his level of play. But we're coming off a season in which the two tackles combined to give the most pressures in the league. So it can't really get that much worse from that perspective than what you're talking about. And so if this guy is healthy, he's proven to be very good tackle. He's proven that he can play on a championship team at left tackle. He just has. And so you're not talking about a guy that's unproven, a guy that you're hoping can play this position. No, it's a guy that understands what you're doing. And Jawan Taylor on the right side, he's a 25-year-old tackle. When you're talking about tackle and aging curves, usually the guys that come in aren't, immediate suits, John Slater's, the Penny Sewells of the world. The guys that have the athletic ability just need coaching. Those guys are going to get better and really show you their high level of play as they get into the 26, 27, 28 level of their aging curves, because they understand how to play the position. Now he's going to be getting the best, coaching of his career in Andy Heck. Now he's going to be working in the best scheme of his career under Andy Reid. And obviously he's going to have Patrick Mahomes, who makes life easier as a tackle. I believe Jawan Taylor is going to give us the best, years of his career, what we have for him under contract here. And whether that's the right side or the left side, I'm confident in he's going to bring that level of play that will raise up the tackle room in general.
yeah, like if he does play the right side for like the duration of his career, I'm talking about Javon Taylor here. If he does play the right side for the duration of his career, I mean, people gonna look at it as like, yeah, we paid him a lot of money to play right tackle, but at least he's not Mike McGlinchey. Say that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, if I'm going to pay a lot of money to a tackle, I want a high level of play. That's what Jawan Taylor can bring to the table. So it's not a big deal for me. The fact that Eric Fisher was a solid left tackle and Mitchell Schwartz was an all-pro right tackle, that was a recipe for success for us. We sure didn't have this interior of the offensive line. So there's no reason why it still can't work now where a right tackle is better than a left tackle. That's not a concern for me, as long as you have a competent level play in the room.
Yeah, and this is the thing I'm looking forward to seeing in training camp. Like by the end of it, I'm looking forward to seeing how this depth chart gonna look as far as wide receivers. I mean, just like the progress of it, through training camp and preseason, just to see the finalization of that. So, because like there's been rumors swirling around that Justin Watson may not make the team after all. I've been seeing those rumors going on the internet. I don't know how true it is, but it could be something to that because we did bring in a lot of receivers for competition.
Yeah, I mean, look,
I saw that.
Oh, sorry, you good?
I was about to say that I saw this wild stat about Richie James. Richie James, he was the most effective wide receiver on third downs this past season.
Mm-hmm.
I seen that.
That was pretty funny. Like I would have to go back and look like when he was catching those passes on third downs, like where is it when like the Giants were trying to come back in the games, or was it when the score was about even? But I mean there might be something to that. I don't know.
Yeah, I think Richie is a very effective slot wide receiver. So like if Sky goes down for a game or two, or if Sky isn't ready to step up into that role, he's a guy that can give you some good snaps, and he proved that he was able to do that last year for the Giants in a similar system as well. So, like I said, I think they have built the depth of this room in an effective way that makes sense. But I agree, Chuck. How this wide receiver depth chart comes out is going to be very interesting because, like you said, Justin Watson, Richie James, outside of the top four that we know are going to be there, those guys are competing to hold on to those spots with Justin Ross, with John Ross, with that Amir Smith, Marset, et cetera, et cetera. There are other guys that are going to be clawing and trying to get those spots. So we'll see how that all works out in the preseason and training camp.
But it look like you wanted to say something.
No, I'm doubling back on that receiver, even with MVS, man, because I feel like we talk about Tony supposed to be the number one receiver. We talk about Scott Moore taking a step. You still got MVS. What is he gonna do? They was talking about that connection a little bit today, but will they improve? Will he? Because we know last year that was one thing that we thought Mahomes could have worked on was them deep connections with MVS. Didn't seem like they was on the same page all season. So I mean, it's possible he take a step too, but what type of step is that gonna be? Like you said, we got a lot of options at receiver. It's gonna be interesting how they use them.
Yeah, and I saw a hot take. I think I mentioned it on the last show. Talking about how MVS could actually be the guy instead of Kadarius Tony, as far as like production and everything. So
Oh yeah,
I don't
Dan
know.
Hall. Yeah.
Yep, Dan Harms. Yep, he's the one to say that. So we'll see how that goes, man.
I mean, maybe you can make a case like we said. He got hot in the playoffs. Will it carry over? I don't think so, but I mean, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, so my guy D-Mac, he kind of hurting over there as far as his connection. But I know Felix and DK Uzama, he's still trying to get healthy and stuff. We haven't really seen much of him throughout OTAs and everything. So like we saw what Karlaftis did last year, right? And how he turned around the second half of the year and to be a little more productive. Like, where do you see Felix being at when it's all said and done his rookie year?
Hopefully, like the same. I'm still holding out hope we get a veteran. I can't say his name right. Yana, that play for the Colts.
Yan Ngakwe.
Yeah, I'm still hoping we can get somebody like that still, where we don't need Felix to be that guy. Hopefully he is. I mean, but late round, first round pick, pass rushers, your expectations are you don't go into it thinking they're gonna get you 10 sacks first year. So hopefully we can get a veteran and we can ease him in and he can be productive this year. But I don't have big. I'm not going into the season thinking he's getting us 10 sacks. If he could just be a consistent pass rush this year, I would be happy.
Yeah. And then like let's see here. And as far as like the backup quarterback position or whatever, according to this report today, they was talking about Blaine Gabbert and how he looked out there and stuff. They haven't really said much of Shane Buechele, so I mean, we'll see if he's gonna make the team or not. I mean, I feel like we still only gonna keep two quarterbacks on this roster, but who knows, man?
Well, they just changed their rule, right?
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. They did change the rule. Like you can actually have like an emergency quarterback in a sense. I can't remember what the exact rule was, but you can't have a emergency quarterback in it, and it won't take up like a roster spot. So,
Yeah. So I
hmm
think they'll keep Shane.
but you mentioned MVS too. Like today, according to this report from Pete Sweeney, he was saying how Mahomes and MVS they look as good as they did last OTAs as far as like being in sync and being on point. Um, and like Mahomes hit him on a deep post and later for a touchdown in red zone. So yeah, hopefully it'll just carry over to the field this time because like you mentioned last year, there was times where they would just be a hair off on those big plays. So hopefully they'll connect a little more this year.
I want to see those linebackers too. What's up with Tranquil? Tranquil, I want to see what's up with him, man. I think he gonna be big on that defense.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm just looking forward to, and like you mentioned with the defense, I am looking forward to seeing if this defense can be top 10. That's the one thing we
That
haven't
should be
done.
that should be a goal this year. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we haven't done that under Patrick Mahomes. So, but with that being
But
said,
you think
man,
Veach has done enough? You think Veach has done enough this year to make this a top 10 defense as of right now?
I still think we need one more defensive lineman in the trenches. That's just me. That's just me personally. And then I think we pretty much good to go after that. I just think defensive line help is still a thing with us. So, but I am excited for year two of George Karlaftis. I feel like year two of George Karlaftis is going to be even more special.
Uh, yeah, he should be a double sack guy or real close this year.
Hmm.
That's
I
the
just,
expectations for him.
I just think that last year the way he finished strong in the second half of the year, I think that momentum carries over to this season. I think you'll see a little more consistency from him overall, whether he is getting sacks or whether he's doing other stuff like forcing fumbles or bad passes down the line of scrimmage or, just pressuring the quarterback in general, getting more pressures.
Yeah, I think we're gonna be way more versatile on the D line, and that's gonna help him a lot. Just with adding Charles and adding with what we got now, we're gonna be able to be way more versatile, a little more creative with that pass rush and them blitzes. I think so. I definitely think it should be a good year for Karlaftis.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, let's go ahead and talk to do something like just a little bit off the football field in a sense. Okay, so we okay we was gonna discuss what we talked about in the group chat like a few days ago. Okay, so there's been rumors floating around about whether Kansas City's gonna get a hockey team or a basketball team at some point to play at the T-Mobile Center, and the topic of the NBA team came up, right? And the country was like, is the city gonna be able to support that like financially, or the fans gonna support that on the regular and stuff? And I was like, yeah, we can, cause look, we got Oklahoma City. There ain't nothing to do in Oklahoma City, and they get a decent crowd, and then you got cities like Portland and I mean Milwaukee. I mean, you just name a few of those cities that are kind of like in a small market, and they support their teams just fine. So I don't see why we couldn't do it. So I mean, like, what are your thoughts on Kansas City getting like another sports team, whether it's the NHL or the NBA? Which one would you prefer? And like, do you think that fans are actually going to support it on a consistent basis?
Of course, I'm gonna go NBA. I wouldn't mind having either, to be honest, but I'm definitely going NBA. I definitely would be a season ticket holder. I definitely think we would support. Just if you see how they support KU. I mean, we support local college basketball. KU, MU, K State, all of them we support. So I don't know why we wouldn't do it with a national team. So I'm definitely going NBA. I would support it. I think it would be good for here. Yeah, and that's gonna be the only thing with period. If we got an NBA team, you got to get lucky and get a star in the draft. I mean, that's just how I go. But I would sit through bad times in the NBA for an NBA team. I would sit through it. I would love it, man. I think it would be good for our downtown too. So I'm all in.
So what are your thoughts on that, D-Mac?
Yeah, look, I've said it for a long time, and it does seem like Seattle and Vegas are probably next up as far as the NBA is concerned. But the NBA needs to be in Missouri. Obviously, I'm a St. Louis person, but whether it's Kansas City or St. Louis, there needs to be a team in Missouri no matter what. And ideally there'd be two. I know that there's enough people that would support the basketball in town, regardless of which city it is. And so I would love to see the NBA come back. to Missouri, and it deserves to certainly. And if it's an NHL team as well, I think that would be awesome too. As much sports that can come to this state, I think is going to be a good thing because there's obviously a passion here. There's plenty of fans here to be had. And I think it's always great for the next generation. I mean, everything that you see that Mahomes has done, the influence that he's had on the city in general, there's always a chance where you get a special player in a special place that ends up driving that type of thing. And so you can never underestimate how having the chance to have that type of person come to your city can really boost things around town. So I certainly would love to see either NHL or NBA or both come to Kansas City and Missouri in general.
Yep, and you
Just
mentioned
just
St. Louis.
imagine drafting our own LeBron, bro. Like
Mhm.
See, you be doing this on purpose. You do this on purpose, dog. I can't stand you, but I can't stand Boogie, man.
What a reaction.
You
Oh
do this
my
on
god.
purpose, dog. But
Oh.
anyway, but D-Mac, like you mentioned, the St. Louis, right? I know they had an ABA team before back in the '70s with the
Hmm.
Spirits, even though it only lasted for 3 years.
Yeah.
But I mean, they could be an option too. But at the end of the day, like we didn't see the numbers with T-Mobile Center throughout the years. They do they like top five as far as like attendance, whether you combine like concerts, sporting events, all that in one. And I just find it odd how they haven't got another professional team down there yet. And also given the fact that the college basketball experience is right next door, so I don't
perfect,
see.
man.
Yeah, you can't tell me that it wouldn't work here. Like that doesn't it would like you mentioned you rattled off some of the names early. It would not be even close to the smallest market. You're talking about oh well, it's a college basketball. No, it's not. It's a basketball place. It's a place where people like to watch basketball. It just so happens that it ends up being more college basketball because that's what's open to them. But if it works in Indiana and it was the Hughes's and now it's the Pacers, it'll work here. I promise you it will. There's enough fans here. It's a big enough market for it to work. It's just about if it comes together and materializes.
Yep. And then I've seen some of the projects that Kansas City is doing for the next few years leading up to the World Cup. So I mean, it's only gonna get bigger. And like when Vegas and Seattle finally get their NBA teams, oh Quinn, when Vegas and Seattle finally get their NBA teams, I think we'll be right behind them. It's just a matter of if that's ever gonna happen. Hopefully, I'm
Can
not
I,
too
I got a
old.
question for y'all.
What's up?
Why is Seattle just a guaranteed one?
Because they took away the Sonics and they pretty we it's universally agreed that they need to be back in the Seattle market because of how thirsty they are for basketball. And so the NBA is probably feeling a little bit of an obligation to come back there.
And on top of that, they got a new arena now.
They
Like,
do have a new arena
like
that is
they,
still true.
yeah, because like I don't know if the
How
Key
new is
Arena's
their
still there.
arena?
So ain't been that long. I can't remember.
Like, it's newer than the T-Mobile?
Yeah, I think they are a little newer.
Yeah, I think it is. I'm trying to remember.
Oh,
It's like it's a
Yep.
Climate Pledge Arena. It looks like it is.
Yep. Yeah, you're right. Climate Pledge Arena.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so that's like the home of the Kraken and the Seattle Storm.
Right.
So and so it's been there
and when did it
since
get built?
2021. 2021.
Oh, okay,
That
so
was the
that's
last time
okay.
it
So
was.
that's a,
That was the last time it was renovated. It's been older
Right.
than that though.
Yeah.
oh,
Right.
Yeah. But it's mostly the Sonics thing. The fact that they took that team away, they
What's
wanna
up,
they
Kyler?
wanna get a game back. So Kylie.
well, you took ours first, man. I don't want to hear that. I mean, I can see Vegas. I know why Vegas, with how gambling is now and how they got that new football arena and what they could do there. We know that's got to happen. But
Hmm.
I just don't like how Seattle is just automatically ahead of us. I hate that, man. And it felt like Louisville was too for a minute.
Yeah, that one never
Yes.
made
Yep.
sense to me.
Right.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
like,
that one I never got with.
Yeah, Louisville, that would just be strange, man. That's just me personally.
Mm. You don't need a team in Louisville. There's not enough. You can split it between Memphis and no. That's there's not enough fans in that area.
Yeah.
KC
All right,
booming,
so
man. KC, man. Please.
yeah, it's
The-
gotta happen, man.
I was gonna say, do you guys like have a name in mind that you would want it? Because like mine's always been the St. Louis Storm, because it just the alliteration Storm makes sense. But where do you guys have a name in mind, or what you guys would want to be?
It's gotta be something with royalty, man. Because I mean, you got the Royals. I mean, we had the Kings before. I mean, or you could look at it the other angle with the Chiefs and all that. But at the end of the day, I would say I'd say bring back the Kansas City Knights, man, because I remember when they was an ABA team for a little bit when they was
That
here.
would be lit.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
so
think the Knights could be a nice game. Yeah, I think the
The
Knights would be
Whales.
nice.
hmm you said the whales.
Yeah.
Why you pick the whales, dog?
KC Wells, man.
That's just random as heck. That's random as heck. But I got another subject I want to talk about before we get up out of here. This is like
Mhm.
across the league subject. So we know about Dalvin Cook getting released and stuff, and you see like the big name running backs that are free agents now. I mean, you got Dalvin Cook, you got Ezekiel Elliott, you got Leonard Fournette, and you got Kareem Hunt. And then you got Saquon Barkley and Josh Jacobs. They haven't signed their franchise tag tenders yet. So like, how do you guys feel about the running back position now? Like, is it truly dying, or will it ever get brought back to being like the popular position it was in the past?
Yeah, look, I mean the running back position is something like you said, it's kind of dying out. And it's not a situation in which there's not going to be running backs. There always are going to be running backs because there's going to be a role to play as far as moving the ball, on the ground. But it's just not the more efficient way to go about things. And when you're talking about a position that, for whatever reason, these guys are not lasting as long, maybe it's just because they're bigger, faster athletes, and you have to take that punishment when you're trying to be a really good one. When you're doing that 20 times a game, you're getting hit by bigger, faster athletes on a consistent basis. It's hard to hold up for 5+ years at a time to justify getting a contract. And that's why you're seeing all these guys get extensions and then they're cut 2 to 3 years into their extensions, and that happens at other positions, but it's almost guaranteed at running back because you're just not going to hold up long enough to justify that money. So um, that's just where the position is. There's a certain aspect of whatever defenses adjust to that you're always going to need that running back to take advantage of at times. But paying him big money when offensive line is more important and wide receivers are now more important and quarterbacks always are going to be more important, I it's not a premium position anymore. It's hard to justify that up against the cap.
So which guy, bud?
Yeah, it's messed up how they doing the running backs now. They definitely devalue them. They they treat them so bad, man. It's crazy. The type of players that we talking about at running back, we talking about top five running backs. This is just getting cut. Like, and it's been happening for, like you said, for years. This shit's been happening, but it's crazy. They don't appreciate them like that. And I don't think it'll ever get like that. I think now the closest thing it'll be is like running backs like Christian McCaffrey in their prime, just getting you almost 100 catches. I think those are the only type of running backs that eventually will get paid. Is dual threat running backs, and it's still not gonna be close to what they was making when we was younger. Them days is long gone. You have kids,
Yeah,
don't let them be running backs no more, man. When we was
And
little, that's all everybody wanted to be was a running back.
and that's a part of it. That is a part of it. Kids now are growing up and seeing people sling the ball all over the field. I'm younger than you guys, so like when I grew up, even I grew up in a more pass happy, system. So I wanted to be a wide receiver instead of a running back. And so these kids are seeing those, type of star wide receivers more so than the star running backs, and that definitely plays a role, and that drives athletes more so towards the position that they want to play, and that's a result of it. So yeah, unfortunately, that is the way it's going. Like the biggest indicator of it is it's one thing when you see the older guys that are already making big money that end up getting cut into their deals. But what you see with the Giants, where a middling quarterback ends up getting $40 million a year, and the running back that carried the entire offense is stuck on the tag and can't get his second contract. You're just like, man, that is an awful situation, and the running back really has to suck it up because there's nothing more for him to do at this point because of the CBA and the way that it's written. He either shows up to training camp or he's not going to get paid, and so he's got to accept a lesser deal if he even wants to get a multi-year contract, and he's got to continue to earn that money every single year. There's no security on it.
Yeah. Yeah, but like, yeah, like here's my thing with the situation with running backs. They still important to a sense. I mean, I know it's a quarterback league now. Quarterbacks, they've always been the face of the team. They've always been the captain. They've always been the most looked at guy on the field. You know, like you mentioned, D-Mac. Me and Boogie grew up. I mean, we saw all kinds of running backs throughout history. Just do their thing, like Emmitt Smith, Barry Sanders, Thurman Thomas. I mean, so the list goes on and on. Beyond that. But like you guys mentioned, throughout the past few years, you seen that running backs, like there's not that many that make it past 25 as far as like getting a second deal, to like at least get what they're worth, you know. And you're starting to see them more and more. And I feel like the names I just mentioned, I feel like Saquon's the biggest name out there. I feel like he should get a bag. You know what I mean? Just off his ability and his production on the field. But
Josh Jacobs
like,
too, Chuck. Like what he was for the Raiders last year, it should be no question him getting paid. Like he was
yeah,
by far their best player.
yeah, Josh Jacobs too. I agree with you on that.
Mhm. Yeah,
Um,
they
but
tried to give a Jimmy G without a working foot a bunch of money instead of instead of Josh Jacobs a second contract.
Crazy.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
that's true too, Queen.
yeah, the way these teams are looking at it is like, look, they see that the shelf life is not as long like how it once was, and having younger legs works in the long run as far as like if you want to have that team success or whatever. Because like at the end of the day, I mean you still got to run the ball in the playoffs. I feel like, in my opinion, but I know it's not gonna be what we once saw. Growing up. You know what I mean? So I do feel bad for that group, but at this point, I mean is what it is right now.
And then also, Chuck, when you got somebody like Isaiah Pacheco that we got in the what round,
Seventh.
Seven round.
and then he come and outproduce your first round running back, it's like it's kind of hard justifying paying a running back when we just got better production from the seventh round.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of examples like that at running back. So
And look, you look at what the Eagles did last year. Everybody was like, "Well, Miles Sanders having a career year." I mean, he goes obviously he went in free agency, he got paid by the Panthers. There's a reason why Philadelphia let him walk. They still have the most two important, aspects of the running game. They still have Jalen Hurts' legs, which gives them an advantage in the math, and they still have the best offensive line of football. You combine both of those things, you're going to have an effective running game, no matter who the running back is. So you go out there and trade a sixth round pick and swap a seventh for DeAndre Swift, who is a guy that's still got juice as a guy. You bring in Penny, who may only give you 6 games, but they're going to be an effective 6 games. And then you just piece it together with Kenny Gainwell and company. And guess what? You're still going to have a top 5 rushing attack, which is all you need when you have AJ Brown and Smitty on the outside.
yep.
And you don't have to spend the money that the Panthers spend it on Miles Sanders. So
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see how that goes out in Carolina, man. But but with
God
that,
bless Bryce Young.
oh man, yeah,
Might be
it
a
might
little
be
rough
rough.
this year. Yeah, it might be a little
Yeah,
rough this year, but man, Bryce Young out there.
yeah. I hope he survives, man. Hope he survives, man. That's all you gotta do is, man. If you survive that rookie year, bro, it might get better. It just depends on where the organization is at. Depends if they get their head on straight. So,
Mhm.
I, so yeah. But with that being said, man, you D Mac, you didn't write to the show when we talked about the passing of Norma Hunt and we talked about the White House visit or whatever. So I mean, what are some of your thoughts on that before we close out tonight?
Yeah, for sure. So, Norma Hunt, people do talk about her as the first lady of football, and rightfully so. I mean, she had a huge hand in the NFL AFL merger. The fact that she attended every single Super Bowl that's ever happened, like that's a major thing. Like, it's insane to think about. She's been there at every single final game of every single NFL season. And she obviously is a huge architect in Chiefs history, a major piece of documenting the history of the NFL. And so for that, she's a central figure in the history of this league, the history of football. And so obviously a terrible thing to have her pass away, but the fact that she got to see the Chiefs win the last Super Bowl that she was able to go to, that's a blessing for sure. She obviously got to kiss the Super Bowl when we first won it down in Miami. So that's also an awesome moment for her. And, may she rest in peace, certainly a great woman as well. As far as the White House visit, I thought it was cool. It was cool to see the guys that were not still on the roster currently be able to go. A guy like Miko Hartman, obviously Carlos Dunlap, Frank Clark, etc. It was cool to see those guys back together. A little bit of a last reunion thing. I don't know how exactly the whole ring ceremony thing is going to work out as well, because that's a separate thing. I don't know. Maybe they do it through the bye week so that those guys can come back or not. Whatever. We'll see.
Hmm.
But yeah, certainly cool to see those guys all at the White House. I mean, that I can't imagine being in the White House in general. So that's an awesome moment for them. You could tell they were all soaking it in, having a good time, and obviously Kelsey made the most of it, trying to get to that podium. So yeah, it was a nice ceremony, a nice moment to see those guys all together.
So good deal, man. But so let's go ahead and get to our sponsor and get up out of here.
Yes, sir.
All right, all right. So for the special today, courtesy of the people of homage, today you got 20% off of two t-shirts for today only. So if you want to copy some t-shirts, head over to the website, copy two of those today, you get 20% off. And now you got the NFL helmet look collection. Now they got it in a long sleeve version, so it's not just a t-shirt version. You got the long sleeve version for when it gets to football season again. You get that football weather, so you can throw that on. And let's see what else we got here. We got the MLB logo collection, like your old school 70s and 80s collection, as far as like your favorite MLB teams. And then you got the NFL dad shirts. As Father's Day is coming up, it's right around the corner. So if you haven't got your dad a Father's Day gift, there's a suggestion right there. It's got the dad, the number one, and the NFL team logo on it. And that is it. So go copy some here, copy some gear, and pay homage.
Yes, sir.
Uh, All right, real quick, Bug, before we get up out of here, man. You saw that we didn't talk about this on the show last time, but you saw the announcement with Bud Crawford and Errol Spence. You seen them posting on the internet, getting ready for their bout next month on July the 29th. Who you got, man? Have you decided on who you going with yet? No.
Oh yeah, I got Bud. I like both of them. I'm a big fan of both of them. But I think Bud by KO. I think he gonna get a knockout. It's gonna be a great fight until it happens. It's probably gonna be 10th round. They both just gonna be so stubborn. It's just gonna have to end like that. But it's gonna be a great fight. Probably one of the best fights of our life. Both in their prime. It's gonna be great, man. I can't wait. But I got Bud by knockout. TKO in 10.
How you see it, D-Mac?
I've always been Spence guy. I like the way he fights for sure. Like Boog said though, it's gonna be a great fight either way. I'm certainly gonna be ready to tune in for sure. But yeah, I got Spence. It probably for me, I think it goes to decision. But look, man, I'm always a fan of a good knockout. So I'll be interested to see either where it goes, and I do think it'll be a very entertaining fight because neither of these guys are gonna dance around the ring, try to avoid each other. They're gonna get in there and mix it up, and that's the type of fights that I like.
Hmm. For me, man, I'm with you, Bug. I got it eighth round though. I think it's a little earlier than that. I got Bud Crawford by knockout in the eighth round. That's how I see it. I think Spence just a little too flat-footed for Bud, man. Bud's gonna figure him out pretty quick. Like Bud, he may start out slow, just to try to fill out Bud I mean, fill out Spence and see what his game plan is. But I already know what the game plan is going to be. You know, Spence going to get caught leaning in too much, and Bud's going to eventually put him on the mat. So I got Crawford, man. All right.
Can't
So
wait.
with that being said, I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in to tonight's episode. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share all your social media platforms. Until the next episode, we out of here. And happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there.
Oh, jeez. Happy Father's Day. Yeah.
Peace out.